actually say like some of my best experiences have been at smaller
Mm-hmm.
conventions because they're just so much more fun. Like because they're smaller, they're a lot less crowded. Your shopping experiences in
Mm-hmm.
Artist Alley and Expo, like and like Dealers Hall are a lot more
Mm-hmm.
fun. Going to panels is a lot more fun because you have a chance to like interact with the
Mm-hmm.
panelists and talk with them. The guests are a lot more fun. Oh my god, did I disappear?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so conventions. I was saying smaller
Smaller
conventions.
conventions.
Smaller
Yes.
conventions are better because it's just so much easier to get around. Your experiences are better. It's a lot more fun. You're not so crowded. Like I would say that this summer I was at Anime Expo
Mm-hmm.
and I straight up left. I went
It was
one day. I
hard.
went Friday.
Yeah.
I went Friday and I left on Saturday. I
Yeah.
was like, I can't do this.
I went all
It's
four
just too
days. I
much.
went all 4 days.
Ugh.
I went full bore Friday, full bore Saturday. Sunday,
Mm,
we were there for like a half day because I had a
mm,
signing. So we just went to do
yeah.
the signing and we kind of walked around a bit and left.
Mm,
Monday, Rachel and my friend that we were staying with, they're like, we're done. We're not going. But when I went on Monday, it was the best day because like
yeah.
everyone was gone.
Everyone's
And I
gone.
was doing
Yeah.
B-roll and walking around. I'm like, oh, this is great. So if you're in the LA area and you're going to a show like Anime Expo, just go on a Monday. Go the last
Monday.
day.
Yeah.
No one's there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I agree with you on the
And
smaller
sometimes some
conventions.
of the best content. Yeah, sorry, just to add on that, sometimes some of the best stuff is on Monday
Hmm.
because they shuffle like all the panelists who are maybe like new or haven't had a panel before or are maybe not as big, they get kind of shuffled to the last day.
Hmm.
And those can sometimes be some of the best like things that you go to
Hmm.
because they're so like weird,
Yeah. But
or
also really
funny,
intimate,
interesting.
because it's a
Yeah, yeah.
smaller crowd, or it's like diehard fans, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite smaller conventions, I don't know how big it is. I don't think it's massive, but it's the Retro Gaming Expo out here in Portland. And it's
Mm.
literally like they have a full hall filled with all of these vendors who are selling stuff from the 80s and 90s, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool. But then they have an entire area with like the original Ataris set up, and they have, the
Yeah.
N64s and NES and Super and pinball machines, and like
That's so
you're paying, and
cool.
it's only $50 for the entire weekend for
Yeah.
3 days. And if you don't even
Yeah.
buy anything, you spend the $50, you go in and you can just play video games the entire weekend.
Mm.
And yeah, there's a little bit of a premium on that, but to like go play video games, but these are games you're never going to really find anywhere else, right? Because they're all so
Mm. Yeah.
old. And then you can still do Artist Alley, and like I went and played like pickup games of Magic, and that was super fun. But I think the only other small convention I've gone to is SakuraCon. Technically is a small convention, but it doesn't feel small. It's
No,
20,000
it's
people.
not
Yeah.
small. That's 20,000 people. That's
Well,
freaking
compared to
huge.
like
Small is like
well, compared
5,000.
to a lot of other cons, I think okay, so Rose City Comic Con I think was 15,000. So that was
Yeah.
technically smaller. And that one was done, I felt really well. That was a fun one. That was where we had our booth,
Mm,
but not all conventions are without their issues, so even the smaller
mm,
ones have their problems. The bigger ones especially have their problems. Like the
yeah.
fire marshal getting called at Anime Expo, that was
Yeah.
wild. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah. It's like different variances of problems, right? Like big conventions usually have those like bigger, like fire marshal-y, like, is there enough water on the
Yeah.
premises for everyone to be drinking kind of problems. Small cons have like straight up like implosion issues
Uh-huh.
where whoever's running them will like run away with the money
Yeah, and just
or
leave. Just bounce.
yeah,
Hmm.
and it just doesn't go to plan. I mean, like the amount of failed cons out there, Tumblr DashCon,
Oh, I don't
I've
even know what that
watched
is.
quite. Oh, it was the Tumblr convention
Oh my god, I don't
that
even want to
never
know. Never,
happened.
never mind. A straight
There's
up
some
Tumblr convention.
there's some amazing videos exploring this convention and how it was like the original. You know how they had like TanaCon or whatever. Are you
Yes.
familiar with
Oh
that?
yeah, I heard about
Like
that drama.
there's those. I think like DashCon is the precursor to all of that, and it was like the original. Like everyone donated this money because they were so excited for this con to happen, and then the person organizing it like ran off
Just
with the money,
bounced.
and
See that kind
yeah,
of that
yeah,
kind of irritates me a little bit because as someone who wants his own convention someday, it's like you're
yeah.
you're doing it for people to enjoy. So it just
Mm.
means you just don't care about the people who put money in. That's
Well,
kind of
I
what it
think
sounds like to me, which sucks.
I I think that's true. I think there's other variances too of like when you ask yourself like who's qualified to organize the
Right.
convention?
Right.
Like, who actually knows how to do that? And a lot of times these people just decide like, oh, I want to have a convention. I'm going to start collecting money and we'll make it happen. Like, if I have the money, it'll just happen.
It's
And
so
I think
much
this
work.
is, yeah, it's so much work. You actually, have to employ systems to use that money in a correct and like responsible way. And
Hmm.
when you don't know how to do that, which in the case of this DashCon person, I think the person organizing it was like straight up like 17 or
Oh
18 or something like
no.
that, and like had no idea what they were
No,
doing.
no,
And that's not
no,
an excuse for
no
them, but
offense for any 16 or 17-year-olds, but running like I used to manage hotels, and that in and of
mm,
itself, like you're only dealing with like at most 1,100 people inside of a hotel for guests and maybe
mhm, mhm,
350 employees. So let's say 1,500 people with the food
yeah,
and drink. That's still, like, it was still overwhelming at times, right?
yeah, yeah,
I can't imagine trying to because you have a year basically
yeah,
to organize and execute a convention, right? And it's
yeah,
one massive weekend and then you're moving on to
yeah,
the next one. And
mm,
I've worked pretty closely with the guys who do like Rose City Comic Con and Anime NYC, and just
right,
seeing how much work goes into it throughout the entire year is
yeah,
insane, right? Like
yeah,
cons, I do give them credit where credit is due of like this stuff isn't easy. It's not easy to put
mhm,
on Anime Expo with 130,000 people showing up, right?
yeah.
140,000 people, whatever